Hello, my Lynn things, family and friends. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I am before you for another reading, y'all. I'm so glad that you guys are enjoying the book. Y'all know we are reading Our Girl, Viola Davis's story. And yes, I was so excited that the last chapter we read, which was chapter 11, was a happier, time in her life, was turning the corner to some positives in her life. And so now we're going to be starting at chapter 12. I have already lit my candle. I'm sitting and I'm resting and just kind of taking an easy day, easy evening. But I was like, you know what? Let me continue to read the story to you guys. Then let's finish this story because we do have like still some more chapters to go, and I really do want to continue to bring this story to you guys. So I was like, you know what, let me get comfy. I've already lit my candle. I got the sugar cookie candle going, y'all. Ooh, it's so cozy and so comfy. It was raining a little bit earlier, so this is perfect. I also got a cup of tea, got some salty caramel tea, and so I'm just feeling nice and calm and comfy. And I hope you are doing the same as you are listening to our next chapter. Go ahead and get your own self situated if you want to go and make a cup of coffee or tea yourself, or maybe even a cold drink, and just go ahead and sit and enjoy our next chapter of Finding Me. And I'm going to jump right in. As I said, we're on chapter 12, guys. So, chapter 12, uh, statement or of right before the chapter, the little quote today is by Thomas Merton, and it says, "If you want to identify me, ask me not where I live, or what I like to eat, or how I comb my hair, but ask me what I'm living for in detail. Ask me what I think is keeping me from living fully for the thing I want to live for." That's deep, y'all. That is deep. And the title of this chapter, guys, is Taking Flight. So it says, eventually I received a full ride to college with the preparatory enrollment program scholarship. That is so, so awesome and amazing, guys. And as we called it, was the sister program of Upward Bound. I started in a familiar place, Rhode Island College and Space, housing in the same all girls dormitory, Brown Hall, where I had spent summers in high school and visited my sister Dolores during the school year. I went into college at 17 years old, and like a lot of kids, I wasn't mature, but I definitely thought I was. I was so excited to leave home. I worked for it and earned it. And once I arrived, I unpacked, settled in, and proceeded to fall into deep, deep depression. Probably the deepest depression I have ever experienced. I haven't had one like that since. Not that deep. I was depressed about being away from my little sister Danielle, but that separation alone didn't fully explain its depths. Since age 14, I had saturated my life with acting, becoming an artist. But when I found myself in college, I still could not give myself permission to do the thing that I loved. My mind was like a railway station where two trains were leaving at the same time. One train was my academic career life. It was on track to graduate from high school, go to college, get my Bachelor of Arts degree, and become an artist. But the other train leaving the station tracked back to the place of trauma I came from, a place where I was bruised, did not believe in myself, had no sense of self. I could not understand self love. I never felt like I was enough. I went to college asking myself, as many artists do, how am I going to make money? How am I going to support myself? When I didn't see a clear path, I thought, I'm not going back home. It's just not going to work out as an artist. I have to be something else. Acting just something I'm going to have to do on the side. So I took a lot of English courses, which I loved, and decided I was going to be a teacher. Something inside of me, however, must have had different ideas because I fell deep and hard into a major sadness. It was a depression about trading in my dream. My dorm, Brown Hall, was all female. It had suites of 12 rooms and each had a single bed, a desk, and a little closet. The building had a front and a back door. Whenever someone was at the front door, whoever was manning the front door desk would call you and say, "You got a visitor." I was settling into my new life, and despite the weight of the depression, happy to be surviving away from home. I had my room, showers, food, and heat. One night during the first year, I got a phone call from my sister, Anita, who was crying. We're, we're at your back door. I came out to find Anita in tears and almost 8 months pregnant with my first niece, Brianna. My mama was here too, also crying and bloodied in the face, bruised. My little sister Danielle reeked of urine. It returned me to the trauma that I had grown up in. That had catapulted me out of my body. My father had again attacked my mom, and they had to get out of the house. So they drove up to Rhode Island College in Anita's beat up old car because they had no place else to go. "You guys can't stay here. I can't have anybody in my room." And I panicked. I had no idea what to do. "I'll get thrown out of here. Then we have to go back home," Anita said. "He's out of his mind crazy though. He's gonna kill mom." I couldn't move. Again, I was frozen. Yet I managed to respond. "I don't have any money. I don't know what to do." My mama was crying and terrified. "Why don't you just keep Danielle here for the night then?" Danielle was crying. It was awful. So I took Danielle. I barely had money to do my laundry downstairs in the dorm, but I took my sister anyway, tried to wash her clothes, let her take a shower. My best intentions did not match my resources. She'd sleep with me in my single bed. She slept on one end and I sleep on the other. I barely had money for the weekend meals when the dining hall was closed, but I somehow fed her. That's all I could do. I was trying to find my way, get my foothold, and also throw a rope to my family. It was trying to save someone else when I was drowning. One of my regrets is the trauma Danielle had to endure and my lack of ability in the moment to do anything about it beyond the temporary band aid of that night. Now that I have a big bank account, resources, I wish I could reach back to that time period. If I could, I would travel back in time and take my sister away from all of that, right then and there. She called me at least 15 times a day. My sweet mate would say, "Viola, it's your baby sister." She would almost always be saying, "Come get me, Valley." I always had to say, "Danielle, I can't come home. I'm far away by bus." She would then begin openly weeping, or I would hear my dad's drunken rages in the background while she wailed, "Please, please come get me." Sometimes, especially on the weekends, Dolores and I would go home to be with her, pool our money together to buy heavenly hash ice cream, fixings for a Greek salad, and pasta shells with red Prego sauce. Danielle would be so happy. She would run out to us like Celie did in The Color Purple when she saw her sister Nettie. That reaction when you miss someone so much and finally they're right in front of you. We would eat and watch Fantasy Island or The Love Boat. Tattoo, the character played by Herb, I cannot say this last name, y'all, would run up to this lighthouse when he saw the plane coming toward the island and would ring the bell shouting, "The plane, the plane." Now, I do remember that show, guys. I did used to watch it myself. Um, so it says, Danielle loved that part so much, she would say in between bites of pasta, "He's going to say, 'The plane, the plane.'" We would tease her and say, "No, he's not." "Who told you that?" She would say. "Watch, you'll see." He would say it and our jaws would drop. We would look at her in amazement and she would just cross her arms as if to say, "I told you." That was our ritual. We went home because we absolutely loved our baby sister and she loved us so much. Then on Monday, we went back to school. My older sister Diane experienced every accolade imaginable during her journey: National Honor Society, Rhode Island Honor Society, All State Basketball. In addition, she was a great actress and singer. She could do it all. Successful black women almost normalize overachieving. That was definitely Diane. She started out in acting at Rhode Island College before transferring to Howard University. At Howard, she still wanted to become an actress until she found out how hard it was. I want health insurance, she told me. Even though my mom and dad didn't go to college, didn't finish high school, Diane had driven it into us. We were going to college. She instilled in us that if we did not have a college degree, if we did not find something to do, if we did not focus, if we did not have drive, we were going to be like our parents. I felt if I did not go to college, if I did not get a degree, if I was not excellent, that my parents' reality will become my own. There was no gray area. Either you achieved or you failed. I loved them dearly, but I did not want to live a life of poverty, alcoholism, and abuse. I thought I had only two choices, either succeed or absolutely sink. No in between. I had no understanding that I possessed the tools to dig my way out of if I somehow made a mistake. I had no understanding that there would be hard times and then joy would come, or sometimes the shoe would fall. But failing wasn't permanent. None of that emotionally healthy thinking was instilled in me. I only understood secrets, suppression, succeeding at all costs, overachieving. You make it or you don't. You either sink or you swim. I don't know specifically how I came into my truth, but I'm pretty sure other caring people had a lot to do with it. Counselors in the Upward Bound program and my sister Dolores, who constantly asked me, "Why aren't you acting?" Until finally one day in my second year, I said, "You know what? I'm just going to do it." That was when much of the depression kind of fell away. The cure was courage, the courage to dare, risking failure. I decided I was going to be a theater major and I was going to be an actor. I made a lot of friends in college. My suite mates were my crew. So we had Jody, Chris, Jane, and especially Terry Noya because we lived in the same town, Central Falls. Noya was Portuguese and came from poverty like me. Cheryl, the RA, the resident assistant, had cerebral palsy, but you almost wouldn't even know it. Even though she walked with an apparent apparatus because she was so beautifully tough, they were a motley crew of forward thinking girls, God ordained to be protective of me. I felt like they all believed in me. We loved one another. We were there for one another. When parents died, getting married, having kids, one of our suite mates got pregnant while we were still in school and had to drop out. But we rallied around her. We had good times. But that first year was a rough transition. I drank 3 times my first year, and every single one of those times, I got caught. I'd go out with my friends and drink or whatever, but it wasn't my jam, and I should have known it. It's like our parents would say when we were younger, a hard head makes a soft behind. That means some lessons you have to learn the hard way. The drunkest I got in my entire life was in college. Some of my suite mates and I went off to campus to the east side near Brown University and did shots of tequila and shots of beer at Spats. Before I knew it, I was crawling out of there. I went back to my dorm, threw up, and had a hangover for a week. I don't know what my jam was, but it was not drinking, and I certainly wasn't dating or having sex. The moments of fun for me were when the girls in our suite sat in the common room and talked about everything. College was an interesting experience of not fitting in with the white kids, of not fitting in with the black kids. Harrowby was the school's Black Student Coalition. Even though I knew a lot of black folk, went to the Ebony Fashion Fair and all of that, I didn't fit in with them because I was from Central Falls. And those black kids were from South Province or Providence or Middleton, areas where there were more black people. It was as if I didn't have my black card. I was a dark skinned, didn't dress worth a darn, and had no swag, none. Heck, I was coming from a square mile city that was predominantly white when I was growing up, but now had more Hispanics. I didn't even know I had to have a certain behavior to have a sense of belonging with my own race. Yet my card was too black to get it with the white kids. I was lost in that in between space. Mine was a journey of getting through college even after surviving that freshman year depression. I was on my own. There was a food program during the week, but not during the weekends. There it is, food again. There was something about the inability to get food that made me feel I was slipping kind of back into my messed up childhood. I always felt like I was foraging for it, Friday evening to Monday morning. Imagine what it's like when you don't have a weekend meal plan. Worse off, you don't have a family who can send you a care package or a home where you can drop in for a kitchen and laundry room raid. Imagine you don't have one of those little refrigerators in your room packed with food to carry you through those days when the cafeteria is closed. The result? The hunger pains of poverty. To combat that, I always had a lot of jobs. I worked as a RA, a counselor in the preparatory enrollment program during the summer. I always worked. Senior year, I had 4 jobs while in school full time. I worked in the college library. I worked at Rhode Island College front desk. I continued working at Brooks Drugs in Central Falls, and I had one other on job campus. Working at Brooks Drugs required me to leave the campus, get on the bus, and schlep to Central Falls. Envision you have to work full time, but you don't have a car. So you have to take 3 or 4 buses one way in sub zero weather to get to your job. That's 4 or 5 towns away from campus in order to make enough money to eat on the weekend. Then you got to take 3 or 4 buses back to your dorm room so you can make your Monday morning classes. You got to graduate. You still have to study. You feel like you're on a treadmill. To this day, I don't like taking the bus. I lived in New York City for 13 years and took the train all the time, never the bus. During college, I walked in cold, freezing weather, at the very least a mile and a half to the bus stop off campus. Either that or I have to wait for the bus to come to Rhode Island College, and that bus schedule was unreliable. Most times, I just walked to the first bus stop in freezing cold weather. It was especially heinous when it was dark because I had to walk through the back entrance of the college, over the sports field, then up to Smith Avenue where there were very few streetlights, and wait for that bus. That bus would take me to downtown Providence. Then I would go wait again at a major bus stop for the bus to take me downtown Providence to downtown Pawtucket. Usually I didn't have the money for the last leg of this trip, or sometimes when I had the money, I would miss the bus from Pawtucket to Central Fields because, well, it was unreliable. It was a scheduling nightmare. I would walk a mile or two from downtown Pawtucket to Brooks Drugs in Central Falls. After work, I would go back to my parents' apartment, sleep on the floor, and go back to school the next morning or take somebody else's shift. Working hard is great when it's motivated by passion and love and enthusiasm. But working hard when it's motivated by deprivation is not pleasant. A lot of college for me was great laughter and connection with sweet mates and other friendships I began to make, mixed with isolation and pain. I still felt like I had to hide my deepest truths to fit in. I recreated myself as the other. I imagined myself as this fabulous, overachieving, funny, quirky theater geek from Central Falls. Every once in a while, I sat with the black students in our area in the cafeteria, but most of the time, I sat with my tribe, my suite mates, or by myself. Rhode Island College was less than 1% other back in the day. Other meaning any student of color, Hispanic, Asian, Black, Middle Eastern, the rest were white. There were probably close to 9,000 students there. I was a lost girl trying to find my way. Okay, guys, that is not the end, but you guys know I'm not reading it in its entirety. But that is our next chapter, chapter 12. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I really did. It's kind of giving us a look into her first year of college, how she's handling it, and then still kind of getting that pullback of her family, because her family is still going through this turmoil. Her parents, are still kind of going through their thing, and then her little sister, which really touched my heart. You do like want to kind of reach back and hold and help, those that are under you, because you know how bad it is. You know how bad it can get. You have seen many bad days. I personally have memories of, kind of taking in my own little sister. Once I lost my mom, I was young. I was about 23-ish, I think, and my little sister was 16 years old, and I had to be her parent. And so even before that, of course, she was kind of going through some things, but losing our mom, I had to take care of her. And so I know what that feels like when you want to be there for your family member, whether it be a younger sibling or um someone else close to you. You want to protect them, you want to keep them safe. And I just felt so bad that she could not take Danielle with her, and the fact that she really, really wanted to be able to help her little sister not go through some of the abuse and the poverty, the hunger, and things like that. So Miss Davis has really come through a lot of things in her life, and I will always say I am just inspired by her. I am inspired by her story. It's kind of funny because I've been watching reruns of Scandal lately. Like literally, I've watched all the seasons. I am on season 7, and the episode I watched yesterday actually had Miss Viola in it. So I forgot they did this mishmash, like switch up of how to get away with murder, which is one of the shows that Viola is on, and then they mixed it with one of my favorite, Scandal. And so I was watching and I was thinking, oh goodness, let me finish reading this book. And then every time I see her on screen, I'm just reminded as I'm reading her or rereading this story to you guys, just how amazing she is and all the things she came through to become what she is today. All right, guys, I'm hoping that you enjoyed this reading. Thank you so very much for those who are interested in this type of content on my channel. I love, love, love you guys who come for any and everything, because yes, my channel is Lynn and Things. And so I do like to do things like this. I really enjoy reading and sharing. And so this is kind of a love of mine. And for those who are loving it as well, thank you so much. Don't forget to hit that like before you go. And if this is your first time catching me, I am Lynn, and I'm usually doing all things Dollar Tree. Is probably what you clicked on for. I do Dollar Tree walkthroughs, reviews, and hauls, guys. So that's kind of the major that you might find here, but your girl definitely does other things. I do like to bring goodies from other stores. I like to bring hauls from other things or shopping that I may do. So you just never know what you may find, because again, this is Lynn and Things. Thank you guys for watching. Catch me in the next one, guys.